The prosecutor in the Kyle Rittenhouse case is the Charlie Kelly of prosecutors. It is like the worst episode of Always Sunny ever. The prosecutor, the more that his arguments fail, the more that the judge loses patience with him, the more desperate and outlandish he seems to get. I am waiting for this prosecutor to bring up bird law, as one might do in an episode of It's Always Sunny. One of the final closing arguments that the prosecutor made is that if you arm yourself, if you exercise your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, you paradoxically lose the right to self-defense.
He brought his AR-15. That's why he's got to come up with this cockamamie theory that Joseph Rosenbaum was not only going to take the gun, but take it and then turn it on the defendant. And the defendant actually told you that he thought Joseph Rosenbaum was going to take that gun and not only kill him, but kill other people, which is really ironic considering the defendant is the one who killed people in this case and the only one. But putting that aside, they have to convince you that Joseph Rosenbaum was going to take that gun and use it on the defendant because they know you can't claim self-defense against an unarmed man like this. You lose the right to self-defense when you're the one who brought the gun, when you're the one creating the danger.
So that is simply not true. that is completely, that has no basis in the law or in history or in common sense. You can't lose your right to self-defense if you are defending yourself, if you're arming yourself to defend yourself. Then you don't have a right to self-defense. And furthermore, if the prosecutor's claim is that Kyle Rittenhouse had no reason to believe that Joseph Rosenbaum, this dead child rapist, obviously he wasn't dead at the time, but he was a child rapist at the time, and what he did do at the time is threaten to kill Kyle Rittenhouse. So the prosecutor is saying this is a cockamamie, crazy theory that he pulled out of thin air, that he was afraid that Joseph Rosenbaum was going to kill him. He literally threatened to do that. He actually said, I am going to kill you guys if I see you out tonight. And then he tried to, and then he got killed for his trouble. That's what happens. That's called self-defense. Then, as if the prosecutor had not embarrassed himself enough, he decided to reenact the scene. He thought, okay, look, my rhetorical skills are pretty subpar, but maybe if I pantomime what happened, if I act it out, maybe then I will be able to convince the jury that Kyle Rittenhouse's obvious self-defense was not justified. So this maniac picks up an AR-15 and just starts swinging it around the courtroom.
The defendant comes running in and drops the fire extinguisher on the ground like this. And then raises his left hand to the gun and points. This is what we see in the video. Him putting the fire extinguisher on the ground and then raising the gun.
Whoa!
Your Honor, I'm going to object. He's facing the wrong direction.
That's an argument.
Okay.
Whoa, buddy, chill out. Chill out with the AR-15, you lunatic. Look, I'm not saying that I have the most intense, rigorous firearms training, that I am some expert on guns. I'm not. I have some firearms training. I've fired a gun on a number of occasions, and I've had people show me how to do it. And what's the first thing they tell you not to do? What's the very first thing? If you've ever touched a gun in your life, the first thing they tell you not to do, don't point it at people. Actually, there are two first things you're going to hear. Don't point it at people, and don't put your finger on the trigger unless you are ready to kill whatever is in front of the barrel of that gun. And what does this schmuck do? He picks up a freaking AR-15, puts his finger on the trigger, and starts swinging it around the courtroom. He should be disbarred for this. That's not an exaggeration. If I were at a gun range, if I were in a gun store and I behaved like this, I would be kicked out of that store in 2 seconds, much less a court of law. But the gun's not loaded. Okay, first of all, if you've been paying attention to the news over the past few weeks, you'll know that sometimes people think guns aren't loaded when they actually are. If the set of Alec Baldwin's movie had paid a little more attention to gun safety, the cinematographer would still be alive. But two, It just shows the unseriousness of this prosecution. This guy, this prosecutor who's representing the state, is trying to make claims about Kyle Rittenhouse's use of a gun and his use of his right to self-defense without knowing even the most basic things about guns or the right to self-defense. He was wrong on the law and he's wrong on the gun. And he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. And the only thing that he can hope for in this case is that the culture of scapegoating Kyle Rittenhouse, the culture of saying right-wing bad, left-wing good, white guy bad, all the victims, not victims, all of the people who were killed by Kyle Rittenhouse in self-defense, in this case were white too, so the race isn't a huge issue here, but it was at a BLM protest, so, BLM rioters good, anti-BLM protesters bad, right? They're just counting on this media narrative and the pressure of the president and the pressure of BLM and the threats that are coming in from the left to try to sway the jury. Because on the facts of the case, on the logic of the case, the prosecution doesn't have anything. You, hold on. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad you watched that clip. If you wouldn't mind, ring that bell, subscribe, you will get notifications, and if our overlords on the big tech platforms don't give you notifications, I would strongly recommend you head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts, subscribe to The Michael Knowles Show, maybe leave a 5-star review if you want to make me feel good. We'll see you next time.